This podcast is just for fun. It's all fake. Don't believe us. Look, do your own research. I am the Mexican Batman. Welcome to the show.
What's up?
What is up, my guys? What's up?
I'm back.
You are back. I'm gonna shift out a little bit so it's easier to stare at you.
We can look at each other.
Out of everybody on the show, you are the one that it's hardest to look at.
I know it's the bald head, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's ugly. No, I'm just kidding. It's hard to turn my head towards you and still talk into the mic. And since if you can't tell, we need
like one of the little curved couches where we can hang out and can see each other.
What if we? Okay, that would actually be cool.
I know.
That would be cool for the set too.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that would be really cool for the set too.
Because then we could just set up the mics right there, and then we could actually see each other. Yeah.
Or even if we got like one of those round tables.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe what we'll need to do is just set up two tables like diagonal from each other.
I know. So then when I lose my temper, I can just swipe the whole table.
Yeah. In the movies. Just toss it. That'd be amazing.
Like, I got a plan, and swipe the whole table and slam a map out on the table. And we can.
Something like that. It's just Mike and I on the podcast today. Yep, it's been a minute since it's been just us.
I know.
Ooh, that was...
We tend to have some deep conversations, though, when it's just the two of us.
I know, and I'm curious. So I agree.
I'm excited to see how deep we get on this one.
This one, naturally... Oh, I made a mistake. I need to eat this, otherwise I'll go crazy. We worked out beforehand, and I am hungry, and I haven't had any calories, so I need to have a protein Pop-Tart. But not the... Okay, have you seen the Pop-Tart brand protein Pop-Tarts?
Yes.
Have you seen how much protein is in them?
No.
It's like 3 grams of protein.
Oh, yeah.
They're not protein Pop-Tarts.
It's funny because anything with protein in it at all right now, because protein's so hot, that they advertise. I saw something that was like 2 full grams of protein. I'm like, that's not very much.
There's more protein in noodles than that.
Yeah. I'm like, that's not very much protein. That's like when on licorice, when it says it's a fat-free food. Well, yeah. It's sugar.
Sugar food. Yeah.
Of course it's a fat-free food. Yep. Lactose-free. Got your lactose-free Skittles.
You know what I could do? Yeah, exactly. Rather save everybody from the mouth noises and do this. I'm drinking... America just celebrated the 250th.
I like that flavor. I got a few of those, yeah.
So I figured ultra red, white, and blue Raz monster for today.
Yeah, I'm hyped up from the gym still, so I just got a little electrolyte. So mine's not going to be a pop. It's going to be more of a click, 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 click. Well, that wasn't very exciting. My little click.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's all right. Mm-hmm. You know what I like about us doing the episode before the Patreon? Besides the fact that like crazy stuff comes up that we want to talk about after. Like I sit here and like stare at my poor drink.
Yes.
I can't open it yet.
I'm like, 100%.
Like Pavlov's dog, like if I see a drink sitting there, I want to open it. Even if I'm not thirsty, I just want to open it.
100%.
And I've fought it so many times where I grab the drink and I go, nope, I can't open it yet because we're not on the actual episode.
Dude, 100%. I stare at it like, and I'm like, oh, I just want to drink. My mouth is dry, and
it's such a.
now
like, and I'm not even thirsty. It's such a just a trained response to that. That noise gets me excited. The little pop and tab. I don't know why.
It does.
It's weird.
Shout out to Xander for the idea of recording the Patreon after.
Great idea.
Also, I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Taryn.
Yeah,
he's a longtime listener of the show, and he hit me up, and he's just like, "Hey, you free tomorrow?" And I was like, "Well, at first I was like, I got a work day, but my work day is usually pretty easy to step away for a second. What's up?" Yeah. And then I was like, "Oh yeah, crap, I forgot we're recording the podcast tomorrow." And he's like, "Well, I'll stop by, and I just got something to drop off." And I don't know if he wants the attention or not, but he came over and he's like, "Hey, I love the podcast, and I want to help you guys out." And he doesn't do the Patreon thing, and he's like, "Here, this is basically, he didn't say it, but it's basically like, here's my investment in the podcast. Just want to keep it running."
Very, very cool.
And dude, huge shout out to him. I asked him if he wanted to advertise. Like, does he want to advertise? Does he want a podcast? Like, what does he? Do you want anything? And he's like, "I don't know. He just loves the podcast." Yeah. And so, huge shout out to Taryn.
And we love people that love the podcast. So
for real, if you are listening, because I know you are, if you have an idea for a podcast, we want to record podcasts that you want to listen to. Definitely. If you invest in the podcast, we want to put out content that you want to hear.
I mean, I may be biased, but I think our best episodes have come from just like you listeners going, "Hey, I got this idea. What do you guys think about this?" Yeah. Like some of our best ideas, they weren't our ideas, we appreciate that.
Like the Dulce bass, to Xander again. Yeah. That turned into 4 episodes. Yeah. Yeah. Because then we ended up hitting the Philadelphia experiment too. And because he recommended the Dulce bass, I feel, excuse me, I'm sorry. That was a rough one right there. I apologize. I'm going to have to edit that one out. The Area 51 episode, I feel like was so much better because we had already done Dulce bass and not the other way around. Yeah. Because the Area 51, had I done Area 51, I wouldn't have known what I was looking at. Yeah. But having done the Dulce bass, and because the Dulce bass is not Freedom of Information acted, or there's no proof of it, that Area 51, we know that it's real because we have the information that says it's real. Yeah. But everything behind the scenes looks exactly the same. Yeah. They're copy paste of each other. Yeah. Somebody threw in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. It's free to join the Discord. We love having the conversation with people. I remember who it was. It might have been Commandy. He said, "What if Area 51 is just the smoke and mirrors of the rest of the bases?" That they were like, "Okay, we got to reveal one." Yeah, we'll show. We'll move everything out of this one, and we'll show them this one. Yeah, that they're or one that they do aviation research, but it's basic aviation research, something like that. It's possible. Yep. I don't know, but it is odd how similar all that was.
Well, and just the lore, like you always talk about the lore of this show, how crazy it is. Like when you first started and I was listening, I was like, what happens when we run out of conspiracy theories? Do we just go back and rehash everything? But then I'm like, as the show has developed, there are so many like red strings tying everything together that when we do come back to things, man, it's a whole different thing.
Oh yeah, we look at it a kind of completely different way.
Area 51 discussion was totally different after Dulce bass, and as the show develops, we make all these little connections, and we're like, wait a minute, you remember when we talked about that thing? Yeah, so it doesn't end.
And to date, I think we've only done the same episode. Like, we've only gone back and done an episode topic like a couple of times. Yeah. And we're approaching episode 100, and our show notes. I keep a document and I call the show notes, but it's all of the topics that people suggest and Patreon suggestions and stuff like that. Like, you can see this list of topics, right? And it's like it's a big list, and we're probably if we just did the topics I have, we're probably covered for at least to episode like 150. Oh yeah, like that's a ton of topics that we have easily, and still not redoing episodes. But
are we doing just a little? Are we doing something fun for episode 100? I feel like we need to. Like it needs to be like
I've been hoping
something crazy.
I've been hoping to get video out for episode 100.
That'd be all right. That'd be cool.
it's gonna take some adaptation and some changing, and I might have to move my mic or scoot some mics or something, do something just to try video.
Yeah.
If video doesn't work, we'll do something else special for it.
Yeah.
I'm really pushing to do video, but we're at a place where it's like we're right in between. If we had another like 4 weeks,
right,
I could probably do video and not even think twice about it.
Yeah.
But we're at a point right now where it's like the videos, I'm not good enough with it to feel comfortable putting out video.
Right.
And so I'm like on that in between of like, oh, we're right there.
I know. And,
so I'm trying to push for it.
And, we kind of pride ourselves on quality and we don't want to fake it.
Right. I don't want to do it just to do it.
Just because we said we're going to do it. We need to make sure that.
And so, yeah, if we don't, we'll do something else special. Maybe we'll we could do like a live on I don't know, something while, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something fun. I don't know.
On a little mini like Bigfoot hunt or something.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd be kind of fun.
That would actually be really fun.
What would be kind of fun? Like it wouldn't be live, obviously. Well, we could do it live. But like just record, like have all of us just record ourselves like a first person camera kind of thing.
Yeah.
Out at the state park and just investigating.
And if listeners want to come and hang out with us,
that would be cool.
And
just random. If you happen to be in the area and you pop in,
if you happen to be from here and you want to pop in,
dude, that would be cool. Let's think about that. Let's hash that out. That would be kind of a cool idea.
And that would be a good alternative if we were not able to get video going.
Right.
That would be a really good alternative.
Definitely. But I think we definitely have to do that at some point anyway.
I was really hoping to have video going, but I'm not convinced I'm going to have it by 100. I'm trying, and
I told the Insane Labs guys we need to go down there and do a little Bigfoot hunt. And they're going to take us to find. They have like a legend of like a giant hog down there or something. Some kind of giant pig down there, that feral hog that roams around. It's got his own name and everything. We can go hunt him down. Like, dude, there's so much fun stuff we could do out in Arkansas.
It was so much fun recording with them on computers.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it would be like if we actually went down there to record an episode too.
Yep.
But okay, before we get too far into everything, patreon.com/BA Bigfoot. You get commercial free episodes and an extra episode each week, basically. It's a shorter episode, but it is, you get free content. Well, not free. You pay for the content, but
so you pay for the Patreon, then you get the episode free.
There you go. And okay, next I want to say to hit up Theo G at Chakra Tattoo in Denver. If you say that you are from BA Bigfoot, you get 25% off your tattoos.
That's crazy.
That's pretty cool. And then he said piercings flat rate. I think he said $50 for piercings flat rate.
Nice.
So that's a 25% off.
Tanner, if you were to get a piercing, what would you get pierced? I know you already got
your ears. I already have my ears pierced. Probably just an industrial ear piercing or something. I don't know. I almost got an industrial.
I don't even know.
Like up
top?
Yeah,
I had the one.
Straight. Oh, the straight bar.
Okay.
I almost got an industrial, and then I don't remember why I ended up not doing it. I think it was because I just realized that like I'm kind of a pansy about, because I have the upper ear pierced as well.
Yeah. I'm
kind of a pansy about that part of my ear.
Right.
It irritates really easily, and I was like, I think that's a bad idea. Yeah. So I didn't.
Yeah.
So probably that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I don't know if I would get a piercing at this point. Like, I have my ears pierced, and I have the top ear. Did I ever tell you the story about why I got that one pierced? It was a Christian thing, because there's a Bible verse that talks about the slaves having the top of their ear pierced with a hoop, kind of thing, and that's how they control them. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. So that's why I had that hoop up top.
Crazy, because I had that same piercing.
Yeah,
because you did.
Yeah, it was a slave. It was a slave thing.
Weird.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Because then they could grab them by the earring.
Huh.
Yep.
You telling me you don't want to get the bull nose? What is that called?
Nope. What about the tooth with the one that's like under your lip?
Oh,
your
dude.
top lip?
And it makes it sound like you have braces
They're
on.
like clicking when you're talking.
Yeah.
I think it looks,
somebody's
I think that
listening.
one looks kind of cool, but it definitely not a dude piercing at all.
Like there's piercings
But,
that I think
it
piercings
looks cool, but it's not very functional.
Right. There's a lot of piercings that I'm like, that actually looks really cool, but practicality, I'm like, I'm out because.
And I've
I'm
seen
a
some
very
piercings that
practical
look
person.
good on like celebrities and people, and then I see somebody that in actual real life that like the sideways lip, bottom lip piercing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you have that, but I don't think that looks very good. I don't know. It's not my thing. Now, like right in the middle, like the little stud, maybe like in the middle of your bottom lip right there. I think that looks cool.
Yeah, it looks.
But again, people complain it chips the front of your teeth.
So when I got my pastoral credentials, because I have gauges, but they're not huge gauges. They're very practical gauges. I got the whole reason I gauged them out. Legit, I gauged them out because I wanted earrings that looked more like guy earrings.
Right.
Because at the time, just the regular studs just were like girly earrings.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll gauge them out a little bit, but I don't want the big, huge gauges and the hoops and stuff.
Right.
So I gauged them out just far enough that like it won't close even if I wanted it to now.
Yeah.
But when I got my pastoral credentials, I was like super self-conscious about it. So I took my earrings out and whatever.
Yeah.
And my mentor, his name was Mike. He comes up to me afterwards and he's like, "Why'd you take your earrings out?" And I was like, "I don't know. I thought maybe I'd get like in trouble if I had earrings in." And he's like, "What?" And he looked at me. He's like, "That's stupid. Put them back in." And I was like, "Okay." And I put my earrings back in, and like nobody said a thing. And I was like, I don't know why. I felt so. It was like. Even in the pastoral world, because I'd never been around like a ton of pastors before.
Yeah.
Like I'd been around like our regional pastors and they all knew I had pierced earrings and everything. But I'd never been around like the corporate body of 400 pastors in one room kind of thing.
Yeah.
I felt so conscious about it for some reason. And then once I put them back in, then it was like, oh yeah, nobody's saying anything. And then realizing, and then I actually started looking and was like, oh yeah, there's people who have tattoos and whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
That's when I first started getting my tattoos. I had the same thing going on, being a school teacher and stuff and getting into teaching, and I had tattoo money. And so I started getting tattoos and, over at Shocker Tattoo, hooking me up. And the tattoos kept getting lower and lower and closer to where my elbow was at. And I was like, I got to be able to wear a shirt and not show off the tattoos. And then after a while, I was just like, you know what? They're not going to say anything about tattoos. If anything, it gives me more, I'm more approachable, especially in our community that we live in, having, full sleeve tattoos and stuff. And they're cultural and everything else. So there's nothing inappropriate about them, So I was kind of self-conscious about it at first too, but interesting.
Yeah. Hit up the OG at Shocker Tattoo and say you're from BA Bigfoot, 25% off. Denver. And like, I don't mean any disrespect to like local tattoo artists or anything, but if you want like elite tier tattoos, you're going to Shocker in Denver. And I'm not saying anything bad about our local artists, but I can tell significantly a difference between that quality of tattoo versus something local.
If you've ever been to Shocker Tattoo, it's like an art studio. It's not like what you think of when you think of like a tattoo shop. It's like and there's a few of those around here too that are very much go in that art direction rather than just the tattoo thing. But it's a higher quality. And so it is that 25% off is like that's your gas money to get down there to get a tattoo for a higher quality. Just do it. Okay. And then I did the Patreon. By your nutritional needs, go to insanelabs.com/BA Bigfoot, or not /. That one's not /. You have to, because there's like two symbols in it. Otherwise it would just be /BA Bigfoot, but it's, so I have to just say, use the code BA Bigfoot. There you go.
In the ancient days of giants, when the earth was wild and free, a creature roamed the valleys, cloaked in mystery. Is he born of angels' blood and man, a Nephilim so tall, or a shadow of the fallen, yet heeding the Maker's call? He's a biblically accurate Bigfoot, with a lineage from the skies. Not a myth or legend, but a truth that never dies. Is he a remnant of the Nephilim, a Titan standing tall? Or does he have the word of God upon him, the last to hear the call?
All right, current events. It took us a minute to get here. Oh, no. We have to do...
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, the positive Bigfoot affirmations.
All right.
Phil would never forgive us if we forgot. I think Phil likes this segment more than anybody else does. He's always the one that remembers to do it. So when he's not on, I feel like we forget all the time.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do this week, because I was listening to last week's episode.
I've got caffeine in me.
I've got 2 numbers in my head. Or I will have. I don't have them yet because you haven't even looked at the paper. But I'll have 2 numbers in my head, and I'm going to do a little combo and see what I can come up with.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Before I guess, I'm just going to throw out a random number.
Okay.
31.
Okay.
Okay. I have the number.
Okay. So I'm going to go with you stuck 31 in my head already. But I already had 24. So I'm going to add the 31. That gives me a 4. And the 24 gives me a 6. So I'm going to go with 46.
Super close. Actually crazy. 2.
That's the first single digit one we've had in a while. I'm always afraid to go single digits.
I tried doing I tried to explain to Phil, and he had no clue what I was talking about. But you know what I'm talking about, when there was that dude that did the late night show where he would ask a question and then the envelope would answer it for him or whatever.
Yeah. We
tried to do that, and it just didn't work. But I was like, try to come up with a question that's answered by the thing.
I got
see if you can do that.
Okay, so I'm coming up with a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
To see if, and then the answer is
that. Okay, I got you. All right. Will I do some more traveling?
More traveling? I'm going to go on a limb here just because I did a little more looking into this after the fact. I'm going to say, what do I do if I stub my toe? Okay. Believe in the unseen magic around you.
Oh, okay. So okay.
I
see the question. Okay.
You get it?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
And that's very much into fortune telling, like how you are good at fortune telling is you got to know how to ask the question.
Because he would ask the question and it would be like...
Can't be a yes or no question. It's got to be a deeper question.
Deep, yes.
Like, what do I do if,
what do I do if I fell off a bridge?
Yeah.
Believe in the magic around you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Get it? Because I don't think we're ever going to guess the fortune on it.
No.
But doing something like this makes it funnier.
Right.
And so you're kind of trying to guess what's on it by asking a leading question to make it funny.
We're onto something.
Yeah.
We're onto something.
So if you stub your toe, believe in the magic around you.
Yes.
Actually, don't.
Magic.
Do the opposite of that. It's kind of demonic. Oh my goodness. All right. Current events finally.
All right.
We've been talking.
What is going on right now in the world? Fill me in.
Okay. This one is right up your alley because Mexico. Did you see that Mexico has a Batman on patrol?
Yes, I sent you a video.
Did you? Maybe that's where I got the video originally.
Bro.
So he is
single-handedly duct taping criminals to poles.
Specifically bike thieves. And then leaving the bike in front of them. Yes.
While they're duct taped.
He taped up two dudes onto one pole,
duct taped,
together.
And they don't have anybody on video. They don't know who's doing it.
No clue who's doing it.
They're low key thinking it's like a group of people because they're like, how did one person take down 2 people?
It's gotta be.
And the amount of duct tape that he's going through, like he's got to have a stock because they're not duct taped like with their feet on the ground. Like they're duct taped like 3 feet up in the air.
Yeah,
duct taped to these poles. Yes.
Bro, yes. Mexico has can we get a shattering Batman?
I know.
I would love to drive it. You're driving down the road and all of a sudden there's someone duct taped to the light pole with like a bike sitting underneath them. It's like, you deserve that, buddy. Yeah. Like that'd be so funny. Oh my gosh. Man. But it wouldn't work in America.
No, because
you'd end up going to jail and you'd go to jail longer than the criminal you busted.
Bike. Yeah. Yep.
So dumb. But A court, this is a big deal actually. A court just ruled that Google's AI summary is a new answer when you're asking Google a question. So therefore, because it is a new answer, Google is liable legally if it lies and that lie is used and it ends up hurting or causing
because it's not so that because if you Googled something, if the source lied, they were liable. Because the AI is coming up with the information,
and so now, so a court just ruled that their AI summary, because their legal stance originally was they were saying, oh no, it's just a summary of answers.
Right.
But the problem is it's not. It is answering the question. Yeah. And it looks deceiving a little bit sometimes because it almost comes off as though it is its own answer anyway.
Right.
And so AI. So
applying that to humans, like if I, as a psychologist, as a counselor, I make a diagnosis and that diagnosis is wrong, even though it's based on my research. It's my diagnosis. I'm liable for it. So now, because Google is taking information and collecting it and summarizing it, they're liable for the summary they make. That's interesting.
And we are starting to see the corporations and stuff fighting back against AI a little bit. There's been a lot of companies that had decided, okay, we're going to push AI into our workforce, fire a bunch of people and just use AI. They're starting to realize that AI isn't as reliable as they once thought it was.
And it's not.
And
it's a good tool.
It is a great
tool, and that's what I always tell everybody. And even in the education world, I tell people it's a great tool, but you got to know how to use it, because if you're just taking it at face value, so much wrong with it. So much wrong with it. We've got teachers in the world writing lesson plans. Don't use the lesson plans from the AI. You use it as a tool. Say, here's a framework. Here's what I should cover, and then put it together yourself. You're smart enough to do that. But it should be a tool. Right.
It should be. It should be. We didn't get to this last week, but we did cover it briefly in the week before, I think. But the UK Prime Minister resigned. That is 7 Prime Ministers in 10 years.
Yep. Saw that. I actually talked to somebody personally about that. From
we were talking about on your vacation. That's right. You did talk about briefly on the Javi episode about it briefly. I don't know if that made it into the show though, because
I don't know if
we lost so much. I lost so much stuff that I was like, I spliced that thing together. I spent a lot of time splicing because it quit recording, and it did, and it was like we had a little bit at the beginning and then we had a little bit at the end, and I didn't know because
I could see the panic on your face and you're like, guys.
Well, it's like because on our studio setup, I know what to look for.
Right.
I glance down. You probably see me about once every 5 minutes. I glance down,
make sure
it's recording, make sure the timer's running, and make sure the red light is on. As long as the red light's on, we're recording.
Right.
And that one didn't have a red light, and I didn't know what to look for. And then all of a sudden, it's not recording, and I'm like, crap. I don't know what
we recorded. And
so what I ended up doing was I ended up just cutting everything from before Javi, like before we started talking about Javi rather than the Climax stuff. I just cut all that beginning stuff, and then Phil and I just re-recorded it. So it probably got talked about briefly, and then it got cut, and that's why it's not in there.
Maybe, on my cruise anyway. I talked to a guy from England, and he was pretty excited about it. He was saying they've been trying to get rid of this one for a while now, and he's finally out, so he was excited about it, and I was like, I don't know anything about it.
Crazy.
So
there's this video. Have you seen the video of the woman riding a horse on Mount Shasta on one of the trails?
No.
She's recording, and she's like, I don't know, did you guys hear? I don't know if it's coming through on the phone, if you can hear this, but it's weird. It sounds like chanting going on, and it's like coming from like all around her is what she's saying. And she keeps riding, and then eventually she comes across it, and there's just like 1,000 speakers like just on the ground making this like weird chanting noise.
That's weird.
I think I have the link somewhere.
Crazy.
I downloaded the video, so I'll show it on. I'll post it in the Patreon, or I'll post it in the Discord. But yeah, just a ton of speakers, just like, what in the world? So my thought process is, I wonder if it's there to try to kind of like spook people away from that area.
Maybe keep them out of
You
there.
hear something weird, you're like, oh, I'm going to go there. Because Mount Shasta is one of the
it's one of those
creepy spots. Yeah. Anyway, weird. And a data center is suing Colorado for water usage rights. And sounds like they might win.
Yeah.
I don't understand how a data center can sue for water usage rights.
Yeah.
It's not a person, and like I don't get how their rights can supersede state rights.
And it's not a civil suit though, so it's a monetary suit. So that's interesting.
I fully don't understand, but I think that'll tell you where our government lies allegiance wise. Yeah. If our national government sides on the side of the data center, then we know data centers are coming from a national government push rather than it'll tell us a lot. But I think that's all I've got for current events.
Gotcha.
Oh no, I have one more. This isn't a current event.
Okay.
It's a theory that I think will be a good segue into the show.
Okay.
Could rationing during World War I and World War II have actually just been propaganda?
That very well could have been.
Because if you think about it, so if all of a sudden our government is like, hey, you need to ration your food because we need it for this war. Now all of a sudden you're seeing, oh man, I'm hungry because the bad guys overseas.
Yeah.
We have to deal with the bad guys.
Yeah.
We have to deal with those guys. And depending on what they ration, okay, now here's the next thing. Depending on what they ration, the people who own the bumper crops that everybody all of a sudden goes out and buys are now making significantly more money because now there's a higher demand. Like let's say potatoes. I know that's not one of the ones, but let's say they're rationing potatoes. So now we got to switch over. We can't use potatoes. What are we going to use instead of potatoes? Let's say like rice. I know this probably way opposite of what it would be.
Right.
But now we got to use rice as one of our mainstays. Well, then now rice is in a higher demand because it's the one product that everybody can buy. They can increase the price of that, but because we're already rationing potatoes, you have to buy rice for your carb needs.
Right.
And so then now that rice farmer, that person who owns the rice crops, it's now a bumper crop rather than a secondary crop. And so they could have been rationing to actually prop up the wealthy at that time and the people who were in charge and having them, okay, don't ration ration this because that one already makes a lot of money. We need to bump up the fish prices.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Like the church did with fish back in the day, the Catholic Church did, because all of a sudden you can't eat meat during Lent, but
you can have fish.
But you can have fish. Why? Because they were trying to prop up the fishing market at the time.
Yeah.
And so it worked. And so the fact that they eat fish during Lent is propaganda.
Yeah.
So could rationing have been propaganda during the war?
Yeah. It could have been.
Could have very well been.
Could have been. Look at oil right now. Oil prices should be, and they are slowly going down, but they should be going down a lot faster than they are.
Yeah.
But who are the bad guys?
Right.
You know, in America's eyes, who are the bad guys? You know, and that's, very much so. You know, because nobody gets more mad about anything more than gas prices.
Oh, yeah.
You want to get somebody fired up, show them gas prices. People get mad, you know.
And the crazy thing is gas prices the gas prices are just hypothetical.
Yeah.
They're not even based off of the demand and the need of the barrels. There might be an economic collapse, so gas prices are going to be $5. I'm sorry. There might be. Is there going to be? No. But there might be.
There might be. So we're prepping for it. Yeah. Just in case.
And even though we're the ones who plan on whether there's a collapse or not,
I know, it's crazy.
There might be, you know. So here, use this. Oh, there might be a shortage. Okay, well, how about we wait to increase the price until there is a shortage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the risk of the shortage is over. We're good. We have a surplus. Okay, you have a surplus. Why are the prices not coming down? Oh, we don't want to just drop the price because then all of a sudden that could cause an economic collapse.
Right.
How could dropping the price cause an economic collapse?
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
Yeah. So like,
it's all just
the cost of when the Insane Labs guys were talking about protein. You know, protein's in high demand right now because everybody's on high protein diets. So protein's in high demand. Not only is protein in high demand, but meat sources of protein are in high demand. And so, bam, you know, your beef is, you know, overpriced. Your chicken's well on its way to being overpriced. Like, it's crazy.
And the local farmer is not making more money off of it.
No.
They're still making market price.
Yep.
They're making the baseline price.
They're making, whatever.
And that price is not the price you pay at Walmart for your meat, you know?
Definitely not.
And so I highly encourage you, find a local beef producer. We need to do that.
Yeah, support those local guys.
Support your local farmer, rancher, and ask and just reach out. You could even just post a question on Facebook. Hey, does anybody know a local person who sells meat?
Get a co-op together. You can't eat that much meat. Like, get a co-op together, buy a quarter with somebody, you know. But I mean,
make it happen.
That's the only way I can think of to fight that. You know? Yeah, but
and it's all set up to make the rich. It's not even necessarily to make the rich richer. It's to keep the rich rich.
Yeah.
At some point, it's all just to keep the people who are wealthy, the people who are in power, keep them in power.
Yep.
And that's what happens. Okay, so.
Speaking of rich people,
we wanted to come back and talk about MKUltra because last week on more than a week ago, maybe it's been a little bit more, but it was June 30th, I believe. There's a panel that was set up to talk about MKUltra and kind of do an initial hearing on it, to just kind of like see how does the Senate or how does the panel go forward in getting information released, like where do they need to target kind of thing. So they just kind of did a preliminary hearing. It was both awesome and frustrating to watch because we already talked about this stuff a year and a half ago. There was nothing new in there I lied. There was two things that were new that I learned from this. There were two experts that brought in party thing. We're not going to play the politics of it, but I am wondering what the motive was for this. So the Republicans sent Tom O'Neill, who wrote the Chaos book, and then his name just escaped me and I didn't write it down. But another guy who's published books on specifically MKUltra.
Yep.
But then the Democratic Party sent some random person that has nothing to do with MKUltra, has never researched it. I felt bad for the lady. Because like she's sitting there and she's like, I'm not an expert in MKUltra, and then the panel was kind of being
like they do, and that's part of their job. That's what they're supposed to do.
They were like, and they straight up were like, "Why are you here?" And she's like, I guess I'm an expert in human things." And we're like, and they finally were just like, okay, so the two people who are here for the actual topic, we'll just focus on you guys. And so then from that point forward, they just kept saying, okay, this question is for the two people here actually for MKUltra. And I was like, dang, dude. Yeah, but brutal. It was like they sent someone who it was nothing to do with MKUltra.
Yeah.
And again, I kind of felt bad for her because it wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
And honestly, I felt bad because it's like she probably had this opportunity.
What if she was MKUltra and they blocked her? They blocked her knowledge before she went, so she couldn't talk about it. Maybe she knew some stuff.
Maybe she knew some stuff, and they were like, "Oh my gosh!" Okay, so. Since this is kind of a rehashing, I'll kind of summarize what MKUltra was for the listener. If you want a deeper dive into MKUltra, go back to episodes. I want to say it was 20, 24, 25, 26, 27, right in there, that range. We did 3 episodes on MKUltra and MKUltra adjacent programs.
Yeah.
Right there, and they're phenomenal episodes. And we're not trying to recreate those episodes. Those episodes are good enough on their own.
Yeah.
Just go back and listen to them. If you want to know more. But I want to kind of give you a teaser in this and come up with and share some new things. But to give you a rehash of what MKUltra was, basically what MKUltra was after the Nuremberg trials and stuff. Mm-hmm. Our CIA basically in our military and Canada's and quite a few other countries were like, oh man, these guys were doing research in mind control. I'll bet the Russians are doing research in mind control. We better do research in mind control too. And so then they started doing research in mind control. One of the main areas in which the Nazis were doing mind control research was in using LSD. So they were like convinced that the Russians were going to be using it, and so then we've got to use it. Well, the thing about it is, instead of doing it in a legal trial-based way, they just didn't tell people that they were being used as human guinea pigs for their trials into this. And so, and then I'm just sharing what we know as a fact right now.
Right.
So that is basically the gist of what MKUltra was. There was...
So in talking about that, something I discovered this week, like along with that, the LSD and things, is when they found out that Germany was using the LSD, they found the supplier. It was only being made in one place. In Russia is where it was coming from. They found it in one place, and the U.S. bought up the world's supply of it. Yeah. They bought every last drop of it for their programming, so nobody else in the world could get it. So we had it all.
Yeah, they were
at one point after WW2.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So in 1973, the CIA director Richard Helms orders all documentation on MKUltra destroyed. All of it, which that in and of itself was against the law. Right. They weren't supposed to do that. So they went through and they deleted everything.
And the amount of files that were deleted are insane.
Oh yeah, it was old school. They just shred and burned them. Yeah. You know,
because the small sliver of things that they didn't get destroyed amounted to like 20,000 files, and that was a small percentage of the actual files they had on this whole thing. That's crazy.
So then they order all of the documents destroyed. And then in 1977, a unnamed CIA analyst, who eventually later they claim it was the director, but some random CIA analyst blows the whistle and releases like 20,000 pages of financial documents. Yeah. Okay. From there, they could trace the finances to other areas that had some documentation, but they found out very quickly that even all of the financial trail information, even in the sites off of the main place, right, all of those records were destroyed as well. Yeah. And so there is basically nothing. Yeah. Like there is a lot of stuff, but in my mind, what I think it is it's the tame stuff. Right. The tame stuff was discovered. Yeah. So long story short, Tom O'Neill, he's doing some research on Charles Manson. And while doing research on Charles Manson, he discovers that Jolly West, who claimed he wasn't a part of MKUltra, lied. I needed to write down names and I didn't write the names down. So Jolly West lied about being involved with MKUltra, and Tom O'Neill discovers documents from Jolly West directly tying him to Gottlieb, who was the person in charge supposedly of MKUltra. Yep. Well, it looks like Gottlieb was in charge, but really there was other people who were also in charge. And Gottlieb is basically the guy that like took the fall as the guy in charge. But the reality is Gottlieb wasn't running the program like people like Jolly West were. Right. Jolly West, in Tom O'Neill's perspective, Jolly West is involved with a lot of really sketchy cases.
Yeah.
Manson being one of them.
Comes in and he's like their special expert psychologist stepping into these.
You got Jack Ruby.
Cases.
Yep. Yeah. You've got these guys and who seem to like crack. Yeah. After he shows up, they either become full-blown insane and you can't trust anything out of them, or they all of a sudden remember everything.
Yeah.
And they admit to doing their crimes.
Yeah.
One or the other. And so he's heralded as this great, phenomenal psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever, who can come in and crack these cases. But the reality is he was one of the main pillars of MKUltra.
Right.
And so now everything that he was involved in is questionable.
Yeah.
Well, in the hearing, Tom O'Neill says that he said, so there was points where he was doing research and he found the documents because the university that Jolly West worked for didn't destroy all their documents. Though they didn't destroy everything like they were maybe supposed to, but they destroyed like the MKUltra stuff. Yep. But there's sub documents that would have like a snippet here about something and a snippet
like
there.
Who he met with and like why they were there, because it was an actual clinic.
Yeah,
like it was like a medical university kind of clinic. And so that he worked for, and so there was documentation of who he met with.
Yeah, and this clinic was the clinic that Manson and his family all visited.
Yeah.
Regularly.
Yeah. I came across a theory with Jolly West that fits into what we're talking about right now, that the reason he was in that area, in the Bay Area in California, was because it was the summer of love. And all the hippies were out there, and there were a ton of cults and things very similar to what Manson did that just didn't go noticed because they didn't do the crazy things that Manson did. And he was actually there on assignment to study what these cult leaders were doing that was making them so effective at brainwashing these big groups of people. And he was supposed to, he was studying that. Yeah. That maybe he didn't directly work on Manson, but he was studying Manson, where, how do you get these kids to kill for you?
Yeah.
How did you get them to do this stuff for you? Let's analyze that and let's put that into a formula that we can use in the military. So there's that theory too.
I could see that. I adhere more to the side of I adhere more to the side that I think that Manson was MKUltra.
Yeah.
Because of the fact of his background and stuff.
Yeah.
He would do a crime and then they would just like, oh, he's good to go.
Right.
And then they'd be like, oh, he did another crime. Oh, he's okay. We'll put him out.
Yeah, his documentation is crazy. How he's like, oh, he's safe. He's fine.
And then, and just if I highly encourage you, go and read Tom O'Neill's book, Chaos.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that this hearing did. They brought Tom O'Neill in as an expert witness and researcher. Mm-hmm. They are now, as the committee, confirming that Tom O'Neill knows his stuff and is not just some crazy conspiracy theorist. Right. They're saying, you've done your research, you've provided the paper trail, we know that you're legit, and he is now an expert witness. So the things that he has found are now considered an expert witness thing because of this hearing. So as a result, I would encourage you, go and at the very least, watch an interview of his. If you have the time, read his book, Chaos, and it will bring you so much more information. The other guy...
so about Tom O'Neill, this is why, out of all the people that have disappeared, memories erased, all these stories... Why is he front and center and they're like okay with it? I don't know.
So for me, what I see is, so I have a personal belief. Mm-hmm. I don't think that our Senate and Congress, I don't think they have a clue what's actually going on in the government.
No. Yeah.
I think this is a hearing
going on most of the time.
So what it looked like to me was a hearing of people who genuinely care and want the truth uncovered, acknowledging his expert witness,
right?
Not people in the know allowing somebody to come forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because there's the big argument too that like the president's there for 4 years. They don't want him there for 4 years learning a bunch of stuff, and then he's out in the world knowing all these things, right? And so even our president doesn't know a whole lot of what goes on in the curtain, you know. So that would make sense with senators and congressmen and stuff. Yeah,
I'm
just
looking
a thought
up
that I had.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, even mine is just a theory, you know. I want to get this other guy's name so that you can look up his stuff, because I've just began starting to look at his. So Tom O'Neill, his expert comes from him trying to write the book Chaos,
right? And
originally it was just supposed to be an article. The article gets killed. And so he decides he's going to just make a book out of it. He's making this book, and he decides, okay, there's too much here. I'm going to have to do more research. And it ends up taking him just like a decade or two to research this book and to come out with it. And the other guy, I'm having a hard time figuring out what his name is. Talk about something.
Yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head either, but I know who you're talking about, because he has a book out that's along the same lines. It's similar. Yeah. You know what I found interesting when I was looking at some MKUltra stuff too is that it wasn't that's all about mind control. Some of it was about like memory blockage. And so they would run they would run according to some of the whistleblowers and things, they would run programs where they would secretly have both sides of the subject. They would convince one side that they were one side of it and one side that they're the other side of it. And they would have one of them being the MKUltra like Manchurian candidate. And then the other one is the blockage one. And so they would block their memory, and they would have the other one try to get to the memory, and they would have them like having these mental battles without even knowing they were doing it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And like, it's crazy, the crazy experiments they did.
Oh yeah.
I read about a woman that they took her in, and they basically convinced her from day one that the world was ending and that it was chaos. And they had her locked up in this building, wouldn't let her outside. Sounds, you know, just psychological warfare on this poor lady for like 40 days, and then let her go. And she went and got a gun and robbed a bank and did all this stuff because she thought no amount of anybody telling her it was different, they had brainwashed her to think that the world was ending. Yeah. You know, and how crazy that is that they would just do stuff like that. Yeah. You know,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy's name is Stephen Kinzer, and he is at Brown University, and he's the author of Prisoner in Chief.
There it is. Yeah.
So he's done his research on MKUltra as well to do his book, and he's working on another book. Tom O'Neill, I believe, is working on another book as well, kind of diving into further of all of this stuff, doing their research. Stephen Kinzer, he brought a couple nuggets that I hadn't heard of, that are cases that he found and he can prove, and both of them were very careful to not speak in any hypotheticals.
Right.
They were like, so even when they asked him, like Tom O'Neill directly about Manson, he's like, I can't tell you for certain that Manson was in MKUltra.
There was a lot of that.
I can just tell you what I saw and why there's similarities and correlations, but I want to be very careful to not talk in hypotheticals. And he's like, with a subject like this, hypotheticals can bring you down a dangerous road. I only want to talk in facts for this. And both of him and Kinzer were saying the same thing.
Right.
I only want to talk in facts. One of the facts that Kinzer brought forward was they did a study on prisoners, so people who were in jail.
Yeah.
That was I think he said a 77-day trial where the prisoners had no clue they were being fed it, were fed like 5-10 times the max dose of LSD of what was like considered like dangerous for 77 days, and just pumped them full of LSD and never told them why. And then when they were like, well, what happened? Like, what was the result of the case? And he's like, we don't know, because they burned the files.
Right.
All we know is that they did it. We don't even know what they were trying to figure out what would happen.
Yeah.
We don't know the results. We don't know what they found out. We just know that they did it to these people, and we don't even know the names of the people. So we can't even go find them. We just know that they did it.
Yeah.
And then he said, another little nugget that I didn't know about. So he said that there is documentation from the, I don't know what it would have been called, because Germany was split east and west after World War II.
Right.
So the president of Germany, there's documentation of somebody in the government writing a letter to the president, chancellor, whatever his name, whatever his title was, and said that the Americans are running a clinic in which they are kidnapping people off the street and giving them LSD, and sometimes to the point of overdose to killing them, giving them just copious amounts of LSD and running tests on them.
Yeah.
What do we do about this? And the president basically said, like, what can we do?
Right.
Here's the thing, and this is what Kinzer pointed out. This was just a couple years after the Nuremberg trials took place in Germany, where they determined that the things that the Nazis were doing were crimes against humanity.
Yep.
And then our government went into Germany, the country that this occurred in, and were kidnapping people and doing crimes against humanity. They're the Nazis.
Yeah.
Our CIA,
100%.
our military at that point. Well, because it wasn't CIA at that point, right? It was
it was even before it was
OSS.
OSS. Like
So it was our government. Our government was literally doing things that we just had a trial in the country that they had the trial in.
So after I read it, I read a file. I came across this file from just barely post World War II, because I started looking at, when I started doing some research, I knew all this MKUltra stuff, but I was like, what came before MKUltra? It wasn't like they just woke up one day and said, hey, we're going to have this program, you guys on board? So I started looking before. So after the Nuremberg trials, they came back to America. There is a publication of a general, a U.S. general, who was also a scientist, who said something like, and don't quote me because I don't remember exactly, but it was basically like a yippee-ki-yay, we get to do whatever we want, let's go kind of deal. With all of you scientists out there, the reins are off. Let's see what you can do. Wow. Like a basically like a letter that he sent out to all of the Army scientists and the Air Force scientists, and said, you know what, we get to do whatever we want. Let's make it good. That kind of email from this general, and that's before MKUltra was established, before the OSS was established. You know, all that stuff. You know. And then even when they first started, they were doing it in Canada. They were doing it in Montreal. They weren't even doing it on U.S. soil because they didn't want the Americans to know that they were doing this stuff. So they weren't even doing it on U.S. soil. It's crazy. Well,
and the greatest piece of the puzzle that I totally forgot about until I looked at my notes was, the thing that occurred in Germany was after Operation Paperclip.
Yep.
And so they weren't, not only was it the U.S. doing these things, they were using the same people who were doing the same thing in Germany under the Nazi regime.
Yep.
They just literally gave them a hall pass and said, keep doing your research. We'll fund it.
Yeah, definitely. So,
our government, like, it's literally crazy. At that point, how can you separate? And again, I don't think it's our government. I think it's our special services and at that time it was like military and stuff like that. I think it was. I don't think that it in no way, shape, or form could I imagine that our Congress right after World War II was like, keep doing the research that they were just doing. You know, I just can't see that happening.
Yeah.
But I can see our Secret Service and our military doing things like that.
Right.
Because of the fear propaganda of we've got to figure it out before Russia does kind of thing.
Yeah.
And and because they brought in these Operation Paperclip paperclip people
Right.
who had no moral issues with it because they had already been doing it.
Yeah, they've been doing
and
it
they're
for a
like, yeah, now you have more money to fund
They
it.
had been doing it so long. You're going to like this. All right. This is the crazy connection I was saving for you because we talked about it at the gym. This is a crazy connection I made on my own that I was kind of digging, right? So the idea of mind control, the reason that like when the U.S. got involved in it is because we brought POWs back, and the POWs started like confessing to crimes that things that never happened. And so while they were POWs, they had been brainwashed. So they're trying to figure this out, right? So they start digging in, trying to figure out, brainwashing. The first time they can find it in literature, somebody talking about being able to change somebody's personality, reset somebody's personality, make them a different person. Do you know what year that was?
What?
1884.
Oh my gosh. No way.
So, and they, so the two goals of MKUltra were to, number one, make it so you could block somebody's memory. And the other one was to be able to turn them into a Jekyll and Hyde, create two personalities in the same body, Jekyll and Hyde.
Yes.
Do you know what year Jekyll and Hyde came out?
Is it 1884?
1886.
Oh my gosh, no way, dude.
Yes.
That's wild,
yes. Dude. Do you know how the author of Jekyll and Hyde died?
How?
He had a stroke at the age of 44, living in Samoa. He was from Scotland, but he was living in Samoa. He moved to Samoa and had and he had some health issues, but yeah, had a stroke at 44 mysteriously.
Weird.
Yeah, but Jekyll and Hyde was 1886. I think 1884 was the first documented that they can find of people talking about manipulating and changing people by brainwashing them.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That decade just keeps
popping up.
Keeps popping up. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
Do you know what year the first serial killer in America became active? H.H. Holmes?
I would guess in the 1880s.
1886. That was his first active year as America's very first serial killer. Do you know what year Jack the Ripper was active in England?
1882.
It was the 1880s, right in the middle of the 1880s.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, it's
weird,
crazy to make I don't know. It may be coincidence, but again, we talk a lot about coincidences.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them.
There's too many coincidences for the 1880s at this point.
There's a lot of them.
There's too much comes up in the 1880s on all this stuff. Speaking of coincidences, one of the things that Tom O'Neill was critical of was he said that he had found a document that was from page, I don't remember exactly what he said, but let's say it was page 77 of this report that he had found in Jolly West's stuff.
Right.
And then he submitted a Freedom of Information Act for that page of the documents in the documents that had been released on, because that set of documents had been released.
Right.
And redacted but released. And when he got it from the government, they had just replaced that page. Everything before it and after it was the same, but that page was replaced. Yeah. And what was on that page in Jolly West's notes was a confirmation of actually how easy it is to control people's minds.
Yeah.
But then the government released it and said, and that new page said, we've determined that it is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Because we cannot figure it out.
Yeah.
And so they literally not just redacted, because if they had redacted it, that's one thing. They replaced it and lied.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole different
That's
thing,
an issue.
Saying they couldn't do it.
Because then at that point, you are putting out false narrative in order to protect yourself even further. So that's why what makes MKUltra even worse is that we now have confirmation that the information they did put out is completely fabricated at times.
Yeah.
And Tom O'Neill, doing his research on his book, discovered this stuff and is now calling out the government.
Yeah.
And just the craziness of it, and then all the documentation they have that MKUltra likely continued after 73 when they allegedly ended it.
Yeah.
And they have now, and Tom O'Neill's putting out stuff, and he's like, it's pretty clear that they continued it.
Right.
We just don't know what they called it from that point on, but they continued it, and crazy.
So it's interesting.
The Haight-Ashbury Clinic was there.
I know there's theories, and it's conjecture. It's whatever. It's just just talking out for fun. But the amount of serial killers that were around in the 70s and 80s is insane compared to now. You never even hear, don't hear about any of that. So one of the theories is that did they get so good at the MK, like when you first start doing science experiments, it's messy and it's ugly. And did they get so good at it that now, they've got it down to a science, and they've gotten so good at it that they can, make somebody disappear without making. That was another document that was in there. While I'm thinking about it, there was another document. We can what are we supposed to do? One of the questions that was asked was, what are we supposed to do with all these people that know too much?
Yeah.
What do we do with them? We can't just make them disappear. We can't just unalive all of these people, because that's going to get noticed.
Right.
But we can reset them and make them new people and give them new memories, and then we can put them back out into society. And that feeds into a lot of the theories that we've talked about with celebrities, with instead of the cloning thing, they're letting people think it's a cloning thing. Maybe it's not a cloning thing. Maybe it's a MK reset kind of thing. Yeah. They get a little too deep, they get to know a little too much, and they reset them,
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to make them disappear.
Yeah.
And you don't have to stick them in insane asylums anymore.
Yep.
You just
exactly
reset them and send them back out with a new personality.
Exactly. Well, but that's the thing. Not only were they doing research on individuals, they were doing research on entire populations.
Yes. Yeah.
Under a different program. Yeah. Which was similar to MKUltra, called MKNaomi. Mm-hmm. So I keep forgetting what his name is. The other guy.
The not Tom O'Neill guy.
Stephen Kinzer. Stephen Kinzer starts talking about MKNaomi, and he was talking about how, so you remember we talked about in 1950, they ran the Operation Seafoam in San Francisco. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So in 1950, they put a chemical, not chemicals, they put biological, warfare into the fog in San Francisco to see if they could infect large populations of people. Mm-hmm. And shortly after that, a bunch of people went into the hospital with urinary tract infections with a weird, unknown, had never been seen before biological trace or whatever. Yeah. And so our government was like, cool, huge success. All right, next step. And this was in 1950, before, technically before MKNaomi even really existed. Right. And so if they were able to accomplish that, so MKNaomi, its purpose was crowd. Mm-hmm. Crowd control, crowd chaos, crowd affecting, crowd things. Mm-hmm. So they were the confirmed MKNaomi things that they were confirmed to be doing research on was large mass scale biological weapons. Mm-hmm. They were confirmed that the CIA and Fort Detrick worked together to do scientific work on anthrax, Venezuelan encephalitis, toxins, taking toxins from shellfish and poisonous things, and then using it at mass levels, and how to deliver it. They had created hidden poison weapon distribution techniques and stuff like that, where they could hit you with a dart and you wouldn't know it, and the dart was invisible basically. So it's the dart injects into you and then is gone. It's not like you always picture the dart where it's they shoot you with a dart and it's like the trank dart. Yeah. No, they created a dart that it's invisible. You would never know you were hit by the dart.
It disintegrates in the body once it's
crop sabotage, where they could destroy entire crops and stuff like that. That's confirmed. Yeah. And it is confirmed that the CIA kept their deadly toxins after our government ordered them to delete them and destroy everything. Mm-hmm. So the MKNaomi confirms that they had kept all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So now the quote unquote unconfirmed, but let's be real, that's pretty much confirmed, but because our government didn't come out and say, yeah, we did this, but we have documentation that proves they were doing this.
Yeah.
So the MK, allegedly, everything in this podcast is just for fun. I'm just joking. This segment right here is now just,
oh
it's
my gosh, we're so funny.
It's fake. It's funny. This is the comedy portion of the podcast. Okay. So the unconfirmed stuff is biological assassinations of other world leaders, the secret diseases outbreaks, like, let's be real. We just experienced one that our government, now there was leaked documents from Tulsi Gabbard who released it, that it was designed in one of those types of facilities in Wuhan.
Yeah. And
that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
Things like that. And that it never actually ended, that they did lots of testing on Americans, and that, our favorite topic of choice within the conspiracy theory communities is the chemtrails, which we now know are real, but they told us you were crazy if you believe in chemtrails.
Yeah.
Research into chemtrails and stuff like that were MKNaomi research. And the other is large crowd hypnosis in order to control populations.
Right. Which is part of, like I said, part of that research they were doing in San Francisco was a hotbed for research back in the day.
Yeah.
That's when they were guinea pigs. It's crazy. So I did see there's a theory of why they chose San Francisco for all these experiments too, is because nothing was more liberal, politically speaking. Nothing was more liberal than San Francisco at the time. You had the hippie movement, you had the free love movement, you had all these things going. The anti-war movements, anti-government movements were all in San Francisco. So they were like, you know what? We're gonna see what we can do with these people.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. Well, so the documentation, like on the taking out assassinating world leaders.
Yeah.
So do you know why it's considered unconfirmed, right? So we have documents that prove that our CIA was researching.
Right.
If they could do the poison dart thing, if they could do the medicine, the pills, the poisons, all of that stuff, the poison them through the air, they had come up with all of these ways in which they could assassinate these leaders, and they named these leaders.
Right.
And then those leaders did in a weird way, they all did die, but we don't have documentation that confirms that our government is the one that took out those leaders. So they were like, hey, here's how we could do it, and it looks shockingly similar to how they die, but we don't have proof that we did do it, so therefore it is considered unconfirmed.
Yeah.
That's confirmed.
I mean,
there's only the only way. I don't know. It's okay. So again, I can't say that.
That's like
on this podcast. It's not
confirmed. Say you stole a bike and you got away from the Mexican Batman, and they find the bike in your garage, but nobody saw you take it. I'd say that's still confirmed that you took the bike. I don't know.
If let's say they're looking for the Mexican Batman, and they see you standing there admiring your work, but it's not your work, it's unconfirmed.
Right.
You're standing there admiring it. You have duct tape in your hand.
Maybe they duct tape themselves.
You have duct tape in your hand. You've got a cape on. You're wearing a Batman mask. You have a shirt on that says, I am the Mexican Batman.
I am Batman.
But they didn't see you put him up on the pole, so therefore it is unconfirmed that you did it.
Unconfirmed.
That's about as unconfirmed as these.
Yeah.
Those theories are.
Crazy.
You know what one of those names is?
Hit me.
Well, one of those names. Where did it go? I just moved past my notes. One of those people who's unconfirmed. Oh wait, no. I don't have my full list in front of me. one of the people they were trying to, for sure, was Fidel Castro.
Yeah, I mean,
they are really trying to take him out. Like there's pages of ways in which they could do it.
Yeah,
and stuff. My list isn't in front of me right now, but
yeah, crazy.
It's wild, and it's like I don't know.
I mean, there's no doubt. Like the stuff that's been released, like. There's been so many experiments they've just done with just without anybody knowing that they were doing them, and then they come out, they deny, and then it comes out later like, oh yeah, we did that, like the Tuskegee stuff, and I mean, there's all kinds of files like that.
Have you ever
that come out?
Have you looked at the actual FOIA documents for MKUltra?
Not the actual ones, no.
It is interesting because the amount of redaction that is on these files is crazy. The ones that they did finally release, let me see if I can find. I know when we did the MKUltra the first time, I went through and I read. I couldn't read everything.
That's a lot.
Maybe Monkey can chime in from the Discord, but I have not read all of the MKUltra documents because it's to the tune of like 20, 50, 100,000 documents.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that much research for one episode of this.
Yeah.
If I was writing a book like Tom O'Neill was,
there's entire teams that analyze that stuff. And you know what's funny is like how many times
or Kinzer,
something comes out in public record and the records are so thick that we miss things. Till like decades later, somebody comes across and they're like, wait, time out. Did you see this? And I think they rely on that. That Freedom of Information Act is, you hide it in plain sight. You stick it in another file with other things and we only show you a few of those things and you get bored with it.
But I went through one set of released files and the sheer amount of it that was redacted.
Yeah.
And so our government claims that they can't unredact the information anymore, that it's lost or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, is it really though? Yeah. Is it really lost? Or do you have copies? Or did you take notes of what the redact? Did you permanently redact the page? I don't think you did.
Where are you keeping all those redacted files at?
It's crazy. But so Kinzer's, what he was putting out was that our government should re-release everything unredacted.
Yeah.
Tom O'Neill was talking about how they need to go to all of the major universities and force the universities to release their files from that
list of universities that when they dug through in the tree of universities that were involved in all this stuff, it's crazy.
Hundreds.
It's crazy how many universities were part of.
Yeah.
Even on a low level. Like I don't want to say they were all doing like did you ever see the Leaf Room? That is crazy.
Yes.
That is a crazy thing. Like there's videos, like I couldn't watch, I watched for a second, but like videos of the old when they would give people LSD. And now these videos, they say that, well, this wasn't part of MKUltra, this was something else, but this is what it looks like when somebody is having a bad trip on LSD. And I'm like, I can't even watch it, man. Like, it's like demonic possession. Like, it's like what I picture somebody like completely losing their self.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is scary that they were just willy-nilly just doing that to people. Some of them didn't even know that it was happening. I read about there was like a military dinner where they gave everybody at the party without them knowing, and somebody jumped out a window, and it was crazy.
It is crazy. I just quick Googled. I was like, Shattering State MKUltra, and there's no evidence, nothing pops up. But yeah.
When was Shattering State College established, though?
1912.
Oh, okay. So they'd have been around. If you say 1885.
1911. I was 1 year off. 1911. Because I remember
doing the
100-year.
Yeah.
2011.
Gotcha.
Celebration thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. And it was a education school. So what would it have been in the 60s?
Well, and here's the thing,
it was a state teacher college. I'm
sure not every college, especially the smaller colleges, probably like they the other colleges are so much bigger. Like, there's probably other colleges.
I'm sure.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, if the University of Nebraska was involved, I'm sure all of the small schools in Nebraska were. But Chadron would have probably been too small to even be on the radar back then. But it was a fun search. I just figured I'd Google it real quick while it was on my brain. But no. But yeah, so the hearing basically is saying that they are going to pressure the committee is going to begin pressuring the CIA to release more files. But let's be real, like at this point, if they haven't released anything new in however long, they're not going to. Right. There's like, and let's be real. One of the senators or whatever asked the question, have you found any research that indicates that they could program people at a distance? Like through media and stuff like that. Right. And Kinzer got on and he kind of said again, in hypotheticals, he's like, I don't like speaking in hypotheticals and stuff like that, but I think he said something to the effect of instead of finding somebody and then MKUltraing them, they were doing research on, instead of trying to find someone and then MKUltraing them, putting out the information that would specifically target certain types of people. Right. Yeah. And then waiting for them to act. That way they could claim they weren't involved in it. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it had unwanted consequences because they would act and they didn't know when, where, why, or how they would act. Right. But they would try to surveil people who might potentially become that based off of the propaganda that they're fed. And they kind of hinted at some of the ways that our media is talking about other politicians right now. Okay. Like, for example, like Trump would obviously be one big one. The Newsom would be another big one, where the language they're using and the ways that they're talking are almost programmatic in trying to program that subtype of person to then carry out an attempt on their life. And they don't know when, where, why, or how they will do that. And it makes you think if that style of programming works, you know, it makes you wonder things like going into the Charlie Kirk thing. You know, that's a big deal right now because he's on trial. And my students were asking, like, what do you think the shooter did it, blah, blah, blah. And my thought process is, if the CIA was wanting him gone, there were multiple people there who were ready to take the shot. Yeah. The kid who took the fall was always going to be the fall guy. Yeah. No matter whether he hit the shot or not. Right. And I said there's a possibility that he did take a shot and missed. And therefore somebody else had to then take the shot. But if they're going to do something like that, they're going to set it up so they don't fail. Right. And that's where, like with the Trump attempt where his ear was took, there were, if you follow that conspiracy, there's three weird people in that setup. Yep. There's the one who's the kid that shouldn't have been on the roof. There's the unknown on top of like the water tower or whatever. Right. And then there's the agent who was supposed to be watching him. Yeah. Or should have been watching those areas. That's three different people that potentially could have taken a shot. Right. And it just didn't work out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or worked out good. How to guess depend on which side of the conspiracy theory you're on. Yeah. But there's always that fall guy, and that fall guy is always really weird. Yeah. Like the Trump one, they always are. They don't have any clue what's going on. Right. You know, but they won't talk about anything either, because even even in the JFK. When they arrested Lee Harvey Oswald, he was like the president. What happened to the president? Yeah. You know, like he wasn't even aware of anything, you know, so yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like they reset. It's like that there's a block there that they can't get past. But. Well, and JFK was another good example because there's the research that proves that there's too many bullets and not enough fires. Yep. That Lee Harvey Oswald could not have been the only one because they had found the bullet in the piece of, because it was like a ricochet and it hit the cement, it hit a curb, and then they had to replace the curb. If you include that shrapnel into the bullet count, there's not enough shells missing from Lee Harvey Oswald's gun, so it doesn't match anymore their story, and that was found after the fact or whatever. Yeah. And so you now have a situation, again, if you're going to do that, you're going to have multiple people because you don't want it to fail. Right. You just, and so what you do is you've decided who's going to take the fall, and you're going to make sure that it happens. And that's what it seems like.
And then you create the narrative to make sure that the fall guy is the fall guy.
You bring in Jolly West. Yeah. And Jolly West comes in and goes, hey, here's my little MKUltra thing.
Make a confession. Yep. And
here's my MKUltra and you did it. You know you did it. You planned on doing it. You've been planning on doing it for years. Yeah. Done. Yeah. And now you're, whether you did it or not, you did it.
You did it. You're the one.
Yep.
Yep. That's crazy. It's crazy to think that our brains are that pliable. Because they are. I mean, our brains are super pliable. Like we're talking about opening the can thing. How simple is that? Like, I am trained that if I see a can in front of me, I want to open it. Yeah. Like, I'm trained on that level, and that didn't take much to do. Right. You know, we're very influenced and very pliable. We're very easy to manipulate.
Yeah, very much so. You know, it's, well, and if they'd have found all of this stuff out back in the 70s, enough to the point, if they found enough out in this, in the between the 45 and 73, if they found enough out that they felt like they needed to destroy everything, before it got its whistle blown, and
because if it didn't work, why would you bother destroying it?
Well, not only that, but there was what's his bucket, Frank Olson, who was going to blow the whistle on MKUltra, and then he self-unalived himself from a window, and he threw himself out a window, apparently. To the point where,
that whole story's crazy too.
If they were that concerned about it at that point in time, that they had found so much stuff that they needed to destroy the evidence, and then what they did release and what they have released is the whitewashed version of it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
What have they found since 73 to 2026? Yeah. Now with like AI, like what is AI opened in this research that I guarantee there's no way they're not doing the research anymore. Yeah. I just know the documentation proves that they continued, in my mind. Yeah. And we just don't know how they continued it. Yep. But there's enough weird stuff that happens that it's just like looking at the Charlie Kirk, looking at the Trump one, looking at some of these major things that have occurred. There's too much weird there to just be like
one and done.
Yeah. Yeah. There's too much unknown, and it screams. It looks like the same thing as like when you look at the Manson family and how they did all that stuff, and then they were like, "Oh, well, he was just mad because it was the former record producer that lived there," and blah blah blah. No, Manson knew that he had moved. Yeah, he had gone to try to visit him before and knew that he moved. Yeah. So he didn't. Why would he then go like, "Oh, I'm going to show this guy a lesson. I'm going to go to his old residence"? Right. No, there was more to it there. There was a lot going on, and there's a lot. And Tom O'Neill's uncovered there was a lot going on with the people in that house. There was maybe some cult stuff going on in that house,
like Manson's. Like when people would get the chance to go in and interview Manson.
I've watched so much interviews of Manson that I actually am probably ashamed to admit it.
So what's scary is, and I'm not trying to glorify him by any means, but what's crazy is, like, without knowing anything about MKUltra, without knowing anything about chaos or any of the stuff that has been researched, he comes across as just crazy, just insane. Like his theories
at moments,
he just comes across as crazy. But digging in, like if you go back and listen, like he's trying to tell people stuff. Yeah, in his own way, he's trying to tell people stuff, and it's crazy.
So I'm never really admitted this, but like I read Helter Skelter at like 16. Yeah. And I had done a book report on Charles Manson, and like I had been researching him. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just researched Manson.
I mean, he's a fascinating, no matter how you cut it.
I think
the
it comes.
whole thing is just fascinating.
I think it stems from us asking Mom if she had ever been to Spawn Ranch at a young age.
Yeah.
And my brain just kind of latched onto that, and I was like, what if Mom was involved in this kind of thing? And I began actually like looking at it.
Yeah.
And so watching his interviews, there's times. So he'll come like at like moments. I would say probably 50% of the interview, if you spliced it in a specific way, he would come off as a very like in the know person, not necessarily intelligent, but in the know.
Yeah.
Like there's a moment where like the reporters are asking questions, blah, blah, blah. And he makes a comment. He's like, well, you have to spin it this way because that's what you need to tell your audience to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to make sure that your audience knows that's the truth. And then they're like, what? And then he's like, and then he snaps and he's like, oh, I'll be the crazy guy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's almost like he was putting on a show at that point because it's like the reporter doesn't get it. I need to show her, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it every time I watch the interviews with him, it seemed like his brain was fractured.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, in Tom O'Neill doing the research, Manson wasn't using LSD.
Right. Yeah.
So how did his brain get fractured then?
Right.
If he wasn't the one, because he was getting the other people to do it.
Yeah. Well, and that
he was going in and not doing it.
So imagine this is completely a different theory, different direction. Imagine that Jolly West is researching this guy. He hears about this guy who can control these women. He has these women following through the streets like dogs, barking and doing things at his whim. And he sees this guy and he's trying to figure out how to control groups of people. And he's because he's a scientist and he's trying to research how to do this. And we've got this guy in San Francisco that's doing this. And he goes, I'm gonna have him come in. I'm gonna give him free clinical stuff for him and his family. And I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna research him, but I'm gonna do it my way. And I'm gonna tear him apart, rebuild him, try to figure out how his brain works. And you play with it long enough, and you break it.
Yeah,
you play with your toys too much.
That's a decent theory. That
and that's
he already
where he
had
broke.
the tools. Yeah,
like he was doing something that Jolly West wanted.
Yeah,
I want this. We're doing all these other things. I want to be able to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
Without the drugs, without this, without that. I want to do what he's doing, be able to control people the way he's doing it. So I'm going to pick at his brain the way I know how.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give him these tools and I'm going to pull that from his brain. And in doing so, you scrambled some things. And that's
I can see that
kind of crazy and weird. Yeah.
I think that's a logical theory. And I could see that being the way it happened.
We'll just never know what went on.
I think from my research, I lean more on the side, and I think I already just said this in this episode, I lean more on the side that I think Charles Manson was an asset the whole time.
Which is possible. Yeah,
and I think that after they got him to do what they wanted him to do, that's when Jolly West goes in and scrambled his brain.
Yeah. And spoiler in Chaos, they talk about that a little bit too. That a lot of the things that he did and the things that he talked his family into doing were an attempt to get rid of certain pockets of people and to do those things. It's so very asset minded. And
it became clear that my brain just blanked it, but the guy who wrote Helter Skelter and did not Helter Skelter, he wrote the Aftermath, and he was the lawyer that was prosecuting him and stuff.
Yeah.
In the Aftermath, it's very clear now in hindsight that he just made stuff up.
Right.
He just made stuff, threw it at the wall, and now whether or not he knew the truth and did that, or if he just was trying to get a prosecution and just lied.
Yeah.
We don't fully know, but it looks like he knew the truth.
Yeah.
Because the ways in which the government blocked Tom O'Neill from interviewing I think it was Tex and some other people. Yeah. The ways in which the government blocked Tom O'Neill from interviewing and getting the the interview tapes of him confessing and stuff like that, the ways in which the government blocked him from being able to have that shows me that there's truth in there that the government didn't want to get out.
Yeah.
Well, and the one thing that's crazy about Manson, though, is, and this is why when I did my book report, was, so Manson didn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
And so the only way they could convict him,
he confessed to some stuff that never. That's what's weird too. He confessed to some things that were never documented as crimes that had happened.
Yeah,
like he confessed to some crimes, but there was no reason for him to confess to those other crimes. And what he was being accused of, and what he went to prison for, he didn't have his hands in that.
He wasn't even at the houses when it occurred.
No,
he wasn't even there.
No,
there's no way. And so the only way they could try him was the I can't remember the term, but it's basically they proved that he was committing the crimes.
He's like the
through the people.
Yeah, they were the weapon,
and so they were all charged together on it. Yeah. But technically, in a weird law technicality, he technically didn't do it.
Yeah.
And that was part of, so I wrote it as a psychology paper of like, where do you draw the line legally?
Right.
Because he's clearly, you know, it's if you let him go and he is just this bad guy and MKUltra isn't a thing and he is just this mastermind, you let him go, more is going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't just let him go.
Yeah.
But if he didn't commit a crime, how do you legally charge somebody when they didn't commit the crime?
Right.
And this is almost kind of an extension to, in my mind, the CIA.
Yeah.
Because so now MKUltra, here's the thing about MKUltra. Nobody has ever did time for the things that occurred in any of the MKUltra.
Yeah.
Or
true.
Artichoke or research or any other research. True. None of that. There's not a single person who has paid for the crimes against humanity that have occurred.
Yep.
We know that crimes against humanity have occurred.
Yep.
Nobody has ever done jail time for them.
Nope.
So
that's interesting.
Now combine that with the Nuremberg trials, where only 10 people were sentenced to death.
They made it seem like
crimes.
there was this whole line them up kind of deal, and it wasn't. It was
thousands of them got new identities in America.
It was a draft. You know.
Now you start wondering, what is the CIA if they are untouchable? With even crimes against humanity, the CIA can commit literal crimes against humanity on paper, documented, and nobody will serve time for it.
Yep.
Who is the CIA? Because they are not our government.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because meanwhile, we have like for example,
they're above the government.
For example,
honestly.
we have
they do things that the government answers to.
We have Trump.
It's crazy.
Who went to jail for 34 counts, for 34, didn't go to jail, but he was on trial for, for the 34 felonies, because there was 34 lines of documentation and all this stuff. And so let's just be real. If the president can be charged with crimes like that, former president at that point in time, former president can be charged with crimes like that, but the CIA can't be charged for crimes against humanity.
Yeah.
Who's in charge?
Yeah.
It's not the president.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Right. Yeah.
Clearly.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Something we didn't talk about too was Manson.
I just can't get over
Manson and the music thing is always kind of an interesting angle too, and we didn't really even get into that on this episode either. Because I mean, he put out an album. He worked with Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. Like,
he almost got a major record contract.
Well, and
because he was weighing whether he wanted to get him.
Wilson was like obsessed with him. Like he was obsessed with wanting to know how he controlled all these women, because he was like, I love girls. Show me how you do this. Yep. You know, in fact, the Beatles even have a song out that Manson claimed that he wrote. Yeah. That he wrote and they stole, and he couldn't do anything about it. You know, and that's according to him. Okay. But still,
something just came to my brain. Here, here's why I think that it wasn't the latter, or that it wasn't that Jolly West found him already having mind controlled, because after everything happened, Jolly West probably would have gone in and be like, hey, we will let you out free. You won't go to jail if you just tell us how you did this.
That's true. Yeah. because there was a lot of that went on anyway.
Yeah.
Because he did break a lot of laws, and
Broke a lot of laws.
They put him on probation and just say he's a great citizen.
Yeah,
he's a great dude.
Well, and there's documentation that proves that Jolly West administered LSD to humans. But on record, he always said, "I refuse to do trials on humans because LSD is too dangerous of a drug." But meanwhile, there's actual documentation out that shows that he did trials on humans with LSD. Right. So clearly, the publication, the media, was involved in it at some capacity too, because they never researched and looked into it. Yeah, they just were like, "Cool, we'll trust this guy as a super humane guy." Meanwhile, he's like one of the most inhumane men in American history. Yeah. Well, that we know of. Yeah.
So when we talked about way back, we talked about, if the CIA showed up, I think we talked about it when we were on our episode about the about all the testing and stuff in schools. But like, we were like, what would you do if the CIA showed up and said, "Hey, we need you to do this or do that"? I don't think they would show up and do it. You would just do it and not even realize you're doing it. Yeah. At this point, I don't know. It's scary.
Yeah. And that's,
you just run it through your phone and on a certain frequency, and you don't even know what's happening. Boom.
Yeah. Have you ever, shoot, they've come out with the research that talks about how detrimental phones are for people whose minds are still growing and stuff. Yeah. Researching all of that stuff is the reason why, like, we've made the decision when it comes to our kids. It's maybe I let my son play more video game, like Minecraft, more than other parents would allow. Yeah. But I also, I notice, when we go to restaurants, my boys are loud. They're screwing around. Yeah. I'm not putting a tablet in front of them just to keep them quiet. Right. But you'll look over and you'll see the parents whose kids are the same age as mine. They got a phone in front of one, a tablet in front of the other. Yeah. Their kids are silent. Yeah. And a lot of people would be like, "Yeah, that's good parenting." But my opinion is, you've just treated your kid with mind control. Yeah. In order to get them to do what you want them to do.
See, my boys will confirm this. Like, when we went to restaurants when they were little, they're going to laugh when they hear this. But they would start getting a little loud, a little crazy, and I'd be like, "Okay, listen, let's go take a little walk and a talk." And they didn't like the little walk and a talk, because we would go away from the crowd, and we would have a little heart to heart. Yeah, that only had to happen a couple of times. And they were fine. But
I do that with Bennett now that he's old enough to really understand the conversation.
When we went on the cruise, this is great. And if this family is listening, you should reach out, because it's a crazy coincidence if you listen to the show, because I didn't actually talk to these people. But there was a family, and they had a younger guy, maybe, I bet he was maybe 10, 9 or 10. And on the cruise, with your package, you get 120 minutes of Wi-Fi for the whole week.
Oh, jeez.
120 minutes for the whole week. Yeah. But you can buy more, right? Come with 120 minutes or 150 minutes, 2.5 hours. And so this young man is finding this out. Finding out that he only has 150 minutes of Wi-Fi. He has a little breakdown. And is like, can we buy more minutes? I can't. That's only like two hours. And his mom's like, "It's 2.5 hours. You're going to be fine." But he's like, "For the whole week, or is that every day? Because I don't know." And he's like having this meltdown, wanting to buy more minutes, because he couldn't figure out how he was going to make that work for a week. And I'm like,
gosh, that's sad.
We are so attached.
That's sad.
So attached.
I periodically,
like, literal addiction.
Yeah,
it was a literal addiction. That,
I want to. I'll put this out there for everybody. I do this too, because of the nature of my work and the podcast and everything. I have to be connected so much. Yeah. That when I start getting real bad about being on my phone, and I'm actually at that point right now. I'm planning on doing another one. I'll go and I'll fast my phone screen for a week. Yeah. So then what I do is I shift my research a little bit. I primarily, and so I'm kind of doing that right now. So most of my research that I did for the podcast this week was listening to, like, the whistleblower testimony, listening to, and so I'm listening to stuff, but I've taken the screen and I've put it down, and I'm present, and I fast my screen time. Yeah. I've like
it's crazy. It's a literal addiction.
It is.
Like
And
the DSM even recognized it in their latest update. For
and I'll notice how after I get done fasting for even just a week of fasting screen time, and with the nature of today's work and whatever, it might be impossible for you to just not be on a screen.
Yeah.
But fast it as much as you can for a week.
Yeah.
And you'll notice after that week how much just better you're sleeping, how much less stressed you feel,
right? How
much more time you have in a day,
right?
Like I've had students in the past that they straight up were like, I don't have free time, and I was like, and literally we were having a small group, and I was like, all right, let's do some accountability. Who wants to do some accountability? Nobody likes accountability.
Nope.
And I was like, all right, I was like, accountability time. I was like, I'll be accountable first. Open up your phones, go to your screen time. How much screen time have you had today? I have had 2 hours of screen time today, which is actually, I didn't realize I had that much screen time. And it actually kind of messed with me a little bit. I was like, dang, because I only thought I was on my screen for like half an hour, but I was on my phone for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang. So that was one of the things that prompted me to start fasting my phone. And one of the kids, he's like, literally the kid who was complaining, turns around and he's like, okay, you have to understand. And I was like, okay, just say the number. And he's like, okay,
I can quit whenever I want.
I know. It was like 12 hours. And I was like, holy crap, 12 hours.
You're like, it's only noon.
And he's like, it was actually, yeah. But he's like, well, no, I had to do a lot of research. I was like, okay. Well, do you mind if I hold you a little more accountable? And he's like, well, whatever. And I was like, okay. You can scroll down a little bit. You can tell me what apps had how much screen time.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, yeah. And they're just kind of like drifted off.
Awesome.
And it was like YouTube and Facebook and stuff. And meanwhile, he was like, I thought I was doing research on my book, and he didn't realize how much time he kept switching over to watch those apps and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a funny small group session, but I was challenging them that I think you have more time than you think you do.
Yeah.
Because time spent on your phone, you can spend it whenever I kind of feel really addicted and my brain is like trying to justify why I need to be on my phone.
Right.
I think of, okay, the last time I scrolled and I spent a half hour on my phone, if I can remember even one video that I watched during that half hour, then I can say that it was time well spent. And I can never think of a single video that I watched.
Right.
Your brain instant forgets it.
Well,
it moves
and
on.
Saying I don't have time. I remember. I wish I could tell you who brought this up, but they said saying I don't have time is an excuse for it. It actually means I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't have time to go to the gym.
It's become that.
No,
yeah.
you just don't want to go to the gym. I don't have time. I don't have time to sit down for dinner with my family. Well, you're deciding. You're prioritizing. You're saying it's not important enough to prioritize that time.
My sermon gotcha phrase is you will always come up with excuses to get out of the things you don't want to do,
right?
But you will always come up with reasons to justify doing the things that you want to do.
Yes.
And so I always talk about it in a ministry context. I always say okay, so if you don't have time to come to a small group, if you have a class over the same time, that's different.
Right.
But if you don't have time to come to small group, what you are effectively saying is, I'm not willing to make time to come to small group.
Yep.
That's okay. You're a grown up. I work with college kids. Mm-hmm. You're an adult. You can decide, I don't want to go to a small group. Mm-hmm. Make that decision. But don't lie to yourself saying you don't have time to go. You're not willing to make time to do it.
Right. Yep.
Those are two different things.
Yep.
And I'm okay with you telling me, hey, it's not really something I want to do.
Right.
But if you're going to tell me that it's something that you can't do, then I'm going to tell you have crappy time management skills, and you need to get that fixed before you become an adult.
And you give them the holy headbutt.
Yep.
Bam!
But no, it is time management. If you genuinely don't have time to do the things that should be priorities in your life, if you don't have time for your kids, if you don't have time, if you're a Christian, to spend time with God, if you don't have time to, to make time, like if you can't spend time with your family, if you don't have time for friends in your life, in my opinion, those are pillars of our lives. If you don't have time to do those things, then you need to check yourself and figure out what are you spending your time on that is preventing you from doing those things, and really assess whether or not those things are worth that sacrifice. Now, I get some people are working 60 hours a week and blah, 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 whatever. But my question then, my follow-up is then, okay, so if working those 60 hours is preventing you from living your life, what is the benefit of working 60 hours then? Because if your justification for working 60 hours is more money to live your life, but you're not living your life, then why are you working 60 hours? But all of this is a part of the machine. In which we've been propagandized into that we need to be rich, we need to be wealthy, we need to have all of these things, we need to sacrifice more, and spend less of the thing of time in the things that actually matter.
So imagine this. Okay, so
we probably could
1953.
Save some of this for the Patreon too. 1953
to 1973, 20 years. They take MKUltra as far as they did. They are involved. This is speculation, but I would speculate that they are involved in the music industry. They are involved in the media industry. They are involved in communications. They're involved in all of those things. Right. They being the big
Black Rock, State Street, Street, and Vanguard.
Yes, and
and the CIA.
So they got 20 years, right? At that 20 years, everything gets burned, everything gets reset, and supposedly doesn't happen anymore. They've got 50 years since then, unchecked.
Unchecked, unverified, unknown.
Unchecked for 50 years to perfect this mind control thing.
The stuff that already started to find.
And they've got new technology that they can use that they're already involved in. On top of media and music and movies and all those things and textbooks and all those things. They've got 50 years unchecked. They only had 20 to take it as far as they did. What have they done in the last 50 years? We're going to, in another 50 years, we find out, back in 2020, this is what they did. And
we'll see if they ever, if they ever
come
what I mean? Clean. We'll see if we ever even find out.
They don't even need us to come into a university anymore to do stuff.
I think
we carry them in our pockets.
I think, unfortunately, this research is so dangerous, I don't think it'll ever come to light fully. I don't ever. Because if people found out that they've been being controlled by our government, then pure chaos would ensue, I would imagine.
So at the end of the day, take care of your own mental health and think for yourself. I mean, just, have discussions, talk to people, figure stuff out.
Get off your phone. Have real world interactions, touch some grass.
I mean, and again, this is all just for fun. We don't know if any of this is real or not, but...
Go to Chakra Tattoo and get a tattoo for 25% off for being
do the things. But, do all the things. Live your life.
I've got to go to the bathroom, so this is a good place to end. Don't forget to...
I was wondering what you were doing over there. I thought you were like hyping up like...
Stop talking. Don't forget to be...
Your BA best.
And do all the things. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Ancient days of giants, when the earth was wild and free, a creature roamed the valleys, cloaked in mystery. Is he born of angels' blood and man, a Nephilim so tall, or a shadow of the fallen, yet heeding the Maker's call? He's a biblically accurate Bigfoot, with a lineage from the skies. Not a myth or legend, but a truth that never dies. Is he a remnant of the Nephilim, a titan standing tall? Or does he have the word of God upon him, the last to hear the call?